So hi everyone, sorry for the technical glitch that we just had today. So how many of us actually have data at Salesforce CRM,
Increase the volume.
but we are not able to utilize it to the fullest in terms of creating any AI operational intelligence within the org? Can you please raise your hands so that we see how many of us really have the problem? Yeah, I see we do have, right? So the difference between having the data at Salesforce as a CRM tool and having all the AI capabilities within the CRM is what we are going to talk about today. So how to make your enterprise data ready, which is for AI solutioning. So what are the steps that we need to take to make sure that your data is processed, transformed, and then retrieved so that your Agentforce agent can actually utilize it and generate proper response in terms of the questions that are asked by your end users. So before I move ahead, as we all know, Salesforce is a publicly traded company. All your purchasing decisions should be based on what is available in the market. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you for bringing the energy here. So I, Rakesh Mishra, working as a product FD at Salesforce. Alongside me, I'm thrilled to be joined by Huazu and Yogendra Jangid. We all three are from Salesforce, working across product and implementation side of it. Over the next 40 minutes, we are going to share our experience in terms of how to unify the data that you have within an org and make it AI ready so that you are not only going to deliver outcomes, but also trusted results through your Agentforce agent. So this is going to be our agenda. We are going to talk about unification of data, then followed by 3 interesting demos that we are going to show for each use cases that we have. Then we are going to open up for a quiz, and then we'll do a Q&A session in case you have any questions. Now let me ask you a quick question. Why most enterprise AI projects fail, right? We have seen it like we have implemented the AI, then we see that, okay, it's not working as expected and it fails.
We're talking.
So do you think it is a LLM model problem? If you can raise your hands. What is the, like I'm asking what is the fundamental problem why AI agents fail in production? Do you think it is an LLM model? Yeah, I think most of us are right. No, it is not. Then do you think it is actually a prompt problem? No, it is not. Do you think it is a data problem? Yes. Yes, so data is the main culprit here. If your data is not right, garbage in, garbage out. So if your agent or the LLM that you have housed and your agent is working on top of the LLM, so if you are not feeding the right data to your LLM, your agent is going to give you wrong or incorrect response. So you have to make sure that your data is clean, then you are sending it to your LLM to process and generate response. Now let's see at this slide. I think this is very familiar to all of us, as we all know that 90% of your customer data or your own org data is unstructured. And the most contributing factors, if you see, are your chats, your emails, documents, videos, audios, and so many stuff, right? So what we miss out that, we miss out to cater this 90% unstructured data. We know it is very easy to work on structured data, but at the same time we are missing out unstructured data where we miss out the operational intelligence. Because to make your AI work and provide benefited results for your organization and the end users, you need to make sure that your intent and content analysis are based on these parameters. So that is why we are going to talk about how to cater those. Now, if we divide the data into 4 spectrum, as you can see, we have structured, we have unstructured, semi-structured, and multimodal. If you see the third pillar on this, which is semi-structured, right? So semi-structured is something which is most important and quietly ignored by many of us because we don't care about semi-structured data mostly. But if you divide that 90% of unstructured data, semi-structured contributes 40 to 60% to that. And semi-structured is where you have your CRM data, where it contributes your CRM plus your email communications that you have, be it your case object or any object that you have. So what happens is when you build an AI solution, you are actually missing out the key areas, which is your semi-structured. So whenever you build your solution, you are actually making your AI blind because it doesn't have access to the semi-structured data, which is actually housed within your Salesforce org. So we are going to talk about that, how to cater this particular specific range of data and make it accessible to the AI, so your operational intelligence become more powerful in terms of accessing the questions of the end users and providing them personalized results and not generic ones. Now let's talk about the unified data solution. As we all know, Data 360 within Salesforce org provides that. So in Data 360, we have different portions where you have sources. So what we do from Salesforce Data 360 side is that we do not bring your data inside the Salesforce org. It is a zero copy ingestion. Then after we bring the data, what we do is we actually process it, which is a part of transformation. And within transformation, you have Agentforce data library, you have custom RAG, intelligent context, and document AI, which we are going to talk in depth. Then once it is processed, then we do activation. So we send that data to Agentforce so that LLM can actually process it and generate grounded response so that user actually can see what is right and derived by grounded data that is being processed by the LLM itself. Now let's talk about one portion of it, which is enterprise knowledge, and let's deep dive into it. So how to power your agent, right? We always unify and activate your enterprise knowledge using Data 360 platform. If you see on the left side, you have various unstructured data sources. Those are mostly from websites, YouTube, Google Drive, Salesforce knowledge articles that you might have within your org. Then you actually ingest those data into your Data 360 platform. That is where you apply chunking, you generate vectors, you do content enrichment, harmonization and unification. Then you actually send that data into your Agentforce application. So your LLM gets the grounded context of information, then process it and generate the right information that is required by your end users. Now let's talk about the unified knowledge. So unified knowledge is now enterprise knowledge powered by Data 360. So what is the difference is, you are actually bringing your unified knowledge into Data 360 platform, then you get the entire package, which is mostly driven by governance, data storage, security, and pipeline capabilities. Now let's talk about Now let's see a quick demo on unification in Data 360 platform.
Here, a customer visits the Cirrus site, a renewable energy company, as they're having trouble installing their recently purchased solar panel. Instead of digging through pages of documentation or opening a support ticket, they simply interact with Agentforce. Agentforce instantly delivers a personalized answer, drawing from product details retrieved from Cirrus's website and customer purchase history from Cirrus's CRM. So how does this work? First, we need to set up Data Cloud's web crawler connector to point to the Cirrus website. We'll go to the Other Connectors screen within Data Cloud Setup screen. Click on New, and select the web crawler connector. Here, we'll enter the necessary setup details, such as the starting URL and user agent. The new connector is now ready to pull data from the Cirrus website. Next, let's see how this connection is used to create a new UDLO, which is where the retrieved website data sits. We'll navigate to the Data Cloud application and click New in the Data Lake Objects tab. We'll select from External Files and choose the Web Content Crawler connector. We'll select the newly created connection and define filtering options such as the crawler's crawl depth, the included web pages to specify which pages to ingest, and the specific page element that holds the main content to be ingested. Then, we'll configure the UDLO name, UDMO mapping, and choose whether to create a search index automatically using system defaults. A search index organizes and tags data, making it easy to quickly retrieve the most relevant information when needed. Now, let's review the assets generated in Data Cloud following this process. First, a data stream is automatically created to ingest content from the Cirrus site into Data Cloud on a regular cadence. The data stream will only ingest new or updated content, and will delete any content that was deleted from the site. This content will then be referenced from the created UDLO which contains key metadata per file, including the file title, source URL, content type, and more. Lastly, a search index is created, along with its retriever, which is how we bring this data into Agentforce. Now we'll create a new prompt template that will use the created retriever to retrieve the relevant chunks from Data Cloud, based on the user's question. Once done, we'll use it in our Agentforce action. And that's it. Agentforce is now configured to answer questions based on the ingested website data. This is how Agentforce and Data Cloud deliver accurate, relevant, and trusted answers deeply grounded in relevant customer and product context.
Excellent. Hi, it's just Rakesh covered about how we ingest data into Data 360. Now let's talk about how we can transform the data, make it available for our AI agent solution to activate it. We'll cover a couple of capability in this section, starting from clicks, drag jobs, to some more pro code solutions you may want to leverage. Let's start with two critical use cases here. First case is when talking about context engineering. It's critical how we can using the data to ground the response with AI using the information you have. Then we'll cover about multimodal support, including some images, charts, or even handwritings. Let's start with this use case. So imagine you want to travel and you're asking what might check-in baggage allowance. If you show that question to normal general AI models without much context, you will just get very generic response regarding, okay, you can, based on economic class, you can take the one or two baggage or 23 kilos. But if we are sending that to some air company with some knowledge article grounded, then you probably get more accurate information regarding, okay, our airplane, what kind of the baggage you can get. How about this? If we building the AI solution with grounded with your personal data, we understand you are taking the international flights, you are on the economy, you are going to Singapore. That's where we get very accurate information straight away to your question. Which AI solution you would like to be? Personally, I like the last one, because I just want a quick answer and I can move on. So question is how we can build the context engineering with accurate AI solutions here. Before we get into that, let's talk about some foundation of building the RAG pipelines. When we building a RAG pipeline, often we want to prepare that off the line before we can use by the AI solutions. It goes through different stages, starting from parsing, transform the contents into markdown, then you chunk into small size of the chunks, then you went to the embedding to make it understandable by the AI. Then we create a RAG, which come into the runtime solution when you can go with AI usage there. But if you are new to RAG solution, you may ask, too much to do, how I can quickly set up a RAG and I use very quickly. And in Salesforce, we have a solution for you. Anyone heard about Agentforce Data Library, ADLs? Raise your hands. Yeah, great. This is very easy, quick drag job setup. It can ingest your knowledge articles. You can do a web search, or you can upload PDF files. With a few clicks, you can set up the RAG very quickly. The heavy lifting all run by the platform itself. It's very good if you are new to the RAG solutions. You want some solution very quickly set up and run use. This is right for you. But not every customer happy with that. We are seeing some issues when using the out-of-box ADLs. Here are some common issues we are seeing in the ground. Context rot. We are seeing some enterprise customers have lots of knowledge articles, informations, but some of them are a little bit outdated. So it becomes a lot of noise. We don't want the AI solutions RAG grounded on those outdated information. So how we can address that context dot issue? The next, some customers have very large documentation and they have very big chunk of the sections. Often with ADL, the chunking strategy will be very basic and potentially we're breaking the structure into small chunks, which lose the context of that. Sometimes you may have the complex tables, charts. Those out-of-box ADL were breaking down and didn't give you the level of the accuracy you would like to be. So we need some custom solution to enrich and building more advanced level RAG to address those three different common issues. And we will go through each of them in details, and later on I will show you a demo how that applies to real life. First, we're talking about dynamic filters. This is one of the useful capability we have when you're building custom RAG. The concept is you have the placeholder when you create RAG pipeline, and then when you run the RAG at the runtime, you dynamically identify like the user persona or geographic information, add into that filter so that you can generate very contextual information to answer the questions. So in your real life, you may think about what kind of other filters you could adopt to leverage the dynamic filters to generate more personalized, specific context for the AI solution. Next, we're talking about chunking strategy. As I mentioned earlier, the out-of-box capability with ADL, we are using passage extraction. What it's doing is it relies on the AI model to find the semantic similarity and chunking the information into small pieces. Sometimes they were breaking the big document into small chunks, lose the context. So we have advanced techniques, we call it section-aware chunking. When you configure section-aware chunking, it will look at the document structure and it will honor the structure, and they will not breaking down even the sections into together. The next, we're talking about parser. The ADL we're using default parser. It's fast, but it's not handled well with OCRs or tables. And then you have two options there when you're building a custom RAG. One is docline. It's very good with information where you're using OCR to extract information from tables or documentations. LM parser is very good if you have visualized information in the documentation, like charts, graph. That will be the LM parser as a choice for you. Let's hold a second talking about some best practices when we're building the custom RAG. Starting with governance. Imagine the data was sitting in the data 360. It's have that dedicated own sharing control within space. But it's also thinking about the core platform field level security. Next, thinking about how we measure the quality. Because we can create a custom RAG, we can try different options. Then you want to have the clear quality metrics, then you can measure it by different configuration settings. So that you also want to have a golden question set so you can test it and find the best solution for you. Last but not least is about KPIs. Always tie back with your business goals. That's always important to building a successful high precision RAG. Here's a quick summary. We touched about ADL. We're also talking about custom RAG. The key difference between these two is really speed versus control. ADL is easy, very quick. You can up and run in 3 minutes. But if you have very complex documentation, you have tables, you have charts, then you may start thinking about using custom RAG, which have more control. But on the other hand, when you're building custom RAG, you really have thinking about, you have to do testing, you have to do quality checking, and taking time to release to the marketplace. So let's roll a demo, show you both of the sides, and help you understand what's the best way you could use based on use case you have.
Every enterprise wants to plug an LLM into their knowledge base. Let's look at Acme Tech, which sells $10,000 enterprise routers and $100 consumer Wi-Fi nodes. Let's start with an out-of-the-box ADL setup. For simple questions, like asking for a soft reset, it works beautifully. It finds the exact paragraph and gives a perfect answer. But what happens when the stakes are higher? Let's feed it a complex, high-stakes query. Not happy. It found error 44 in both our enterprise and consumer manuals and mistakenly provided the instructions for consumer product. Now let's look at our custom advanced RAG. Notice the sidebar. This time, we aren't just sending the raw text query. The system has automatically detected the user's context from the conversation, specifically the product category and subcategory. By passing these invisible metadata filters alongside the prompt, the AI completely ignores the consumer noise and delivers a perfectly safe, accurate diagnostic plan. So how do you actually build the difference between these two systems? First, let's take a look at how we build that first basic ADL experience. From the setup page, we open the Agentforce data library and create a new data library named as Acme Tech Knowledge Base. We set our data type to knowledge. Under identifying fields, we select title and summary. Finally, we select details as our content field because that holds the rich, unstructured troubleshooting text, and we hit save. Now, we just wait a few minutes. Behind the scenes, the platform automatically ingests the knowledge article data into Data 360 and automatically generates the vector search index and the retriever. It's a seamless, point-and-click setup that gets you running in minutes. However, it does not support dynamic metadata filtering, and the chunking size is fixed at 512 token. To get that structural and contextual awareness, we need to build custom RAG. To create a custom RAG, we first go into the Data Cloud app and open the Search Index tab. We click New, but this time, instead of the standard automated flow, we select Advanced Setup, which allows us to custom build the RAG. We select Hybrid Search, which includes both keyword and semantic search. We use Knowledge Article as our data source. This was ingested through Data 360 data stream as data lake object and then mapped to data model object. Then next. At chunking step, we select Details field as it contains the richest information we want to use for our agent to generate responses. Now we need to define our chunking strategy. Since our Details field contains rich contents, including multiple sections and very large size. So we choose section-aware chunking, which will ensure the information within the same section will not be broken into two chunks. We also set chunking size as 2000 to cover larger information blocks. We want to set up the field prepending so that each broken chunks can still be contextual with original article. Move to the next. We choose E5 Large V2 embedding model for our vectorization. Then we set up two fields, product category and subcategory, which allows us to use as dynamic filtering during runtime. Moving to the next step of ranking. Here, we set up the ranking factor as recency. This will influence the ranking of search results. We use last modified date to try to select the latest knowledge articles. Now we have customized our search index, and here is the final review. It looks good, and we click Save to finish the search index step. Finally, let's go to Einstein Studio and create a new retriever. We will use individual retriever rather than ensemble retriever for our use case. Now let's select the knowledge article data model object and the search index we just built. Next, we need to define retriever filters. For our use case, we select product category and subcategory. We want to set them up as dynamic so that the value will be loaded during the runtime to dynamically ground the contextual information. Next, we need to configure what information retriever should be returned to be used by our activation solution. We keep the default 20 as number of results returned and select the article number and the chunk, which are most important information we need. Next, we are at the final review stage before our completion of final build. We need to activate the retriever before it can be used by our activation method, such as prompt and lightning flow. And here we are. We have successfully built our custom retriever with various RAG techniques. To summarize, basic ADL is incredibly fast to deploy with zero code, but it's not fit for large and complex articles. On the other side, custom RAG requires more engineering effort, but provides accuracy through dynamic filtering and structural awareness. Ultimately, both have distinct use cases, and a smart AI solution leverages them side by side.
Awesome, fantastic. Volume. Okay. So just now we saw how an ADL can work and how we can customize it through our custom RAG. But is that sufficient enough for our Agentforce? Can a single model work for everything? For example, you have your enterprise data sitting into a text, PDF, and also you have the enterprise data in the form of a structured way. Can a single model be sufficient enough for all of your use cases? No. So as you can see at the right side, you have the chart. You might have the manuals as well. At the right side, if you see, you have the form. It may be handwritten or it may be in the form of invoices or contracts. So we need to understand what type of enterprise data we have, and accordingly we need to define our strategy for choosing the model. And that's where we have two types of models with Salesforce at this moment. One is intelligent context and second is document AI. How many of you have heard about intelligent context? Yeah. Okay. And document AI, I think everybody would be familiar with the document AI. So what does intelligent context do? It provides the AI accuracy on complex unstructured content like manuals and the flowchart. The intelligent context comes with smart configuration where you will play around with the configuration and then you will test your agent's output, and finally once you are satisfied you will deploy it. At the right side you will see the document AI, which extracts the specific data fields from the documents like invoices and contracts. It's available in both batch and transactional mode. Let's first start with ADL. Now the ADL comes with the intelligent context enabled within it, out of the box. The beauty of ADL is, as we just saw, it gives you the speed. You just need to upload the file and everything related to the search index creation will be done by the platform itself. You don't need to worry about there. Pretty easy. But what about the custom RAG? When you create a custom RAG and when you deploy it, it's pretty difficult to change the custom RAG again and again because you need to start it again. So to overcome that problem, we have this intelligent context. With the intelligent context smart configuration, you actually do the parsing, pre-processing and embeddings. With this, you'll get the chunks straight away there. And those chunks with the Agentforce agent enabled within the intelligent context, you will be able to test it out. If you are satisfied, well and good. If you are not satisfied, you can change the configuration. You can change the parsing model. You can change the embeddings there, embeddings model. And once you are satisfied with the result, then you can finally say, yes, this is working perfectly fine, and you can deploy this or ship it to your production. What is document AI? I think everybody has heard about OCR technologies, right? Document AI is actually using AI, OCR, ICR, NLP, machine learning, and computer vision to extract the unstructured data and put it back into the structured way. Pretty easy. We have covered the theory part. Let's see in a demo.
Welcome. Today we are looking at a game changer for multimodal data. We will explore how intelligent context and document AI seamlessly transform your most complex, unstructured files into structured, actionable intelligence. Let's go to Data Cloud and Open Process Content tab. This is the place where we can set up the intelligent context configuration. Let's click the New Configuration button. Give it a name to this search configuration and save. First step is to add sources. We can add up to 5 files, 10 megabytes max each, to build out the configuration. Let's go ahead and upload that chart as a PNG file. Now let's start configuration. Let's ask the agent to generate a configuration to tailor the search results to our business needs. Here's the configuration suggested by Agent's Smart Defaults. We can accept it or make changes based on our needs. Let's take a look at what are the options. We can choose vector or hybrid search, different parsing options. We can also set pre-processing, choosing LLM-based processing, select embedding model, and data chunking rules. We can try a certain configuration, test it, and then revise again. Through this iteration, we can build the best configurations to suit our needs. For this demo, let's accept the default configurations. After a couple of seconds, we can see the preview window shows the chunks generated. We can toggle the Compare with Source button to verify if the information in chart has been correctly translated into text-formatted chunk data. We can also test it by asking a question. Is there any abnormal in this chart? As we can see, there's a spike of red line in the chart. We want to test if the agent can identify this issue via the search we built. And yes, the agent clearly identified the abnormal happens in EMEA and also be able to explain the reason in comparison with other regions accurately. Now we are happy with the configuration, we can click the Publish button, and then we will be able to choose any UDMO built-in Data 360 to be applied with this intelligent context configuration, which will then be used as RAG for our agents. Now, let's look at our second use case with handwriting form to see how Document AI is able to transform this data into a structured format, which can be consumed by AI agent. Let's go back to Data Cloud app. Under the same Process Content tab, we can see Document AI. Click New to generate a new document schema configurations. We choose Without a Source Object option, as we want to build the schema configuration via an image file we are going to upload. Let's upload the product return form, which is a JPG file. After file upload, it will take a couple of seconds for the system to process it before we can see the preview. Let's use LLM to auto-extract the schema from this image. Here we are. The LLM did a great job to extract all sections in the image into 9 fields with correct name and field type. Now let's click Test button to execute the data extraction. Here we can see so information has been extracted correctly, like order number, but phone number and additional comment are not correct. Let's change the model to OpenAI GPT-4o and try again. Here we are. Now we can see all the information has been extracted correctly, including phone number and additional comments. Let's save it. Now we have successfully created a document AI configuration, which can be used via API for batch and transaction processing. Let's do a quick summary. We have showcased 2 dedicated solutions. Intelligent Context is for enhancing AI accuracy on complex, unstructured content like manuals and flowcharts. Document AI, on the other hand, is specifically for extracting structured data fields from documents like invoices and contracts, converting those unstructured files into usable structured enterprise data. Thank you for watching.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming in here and joining us. Thank you.